Okay, looks like we have some attendees still getting on, so we will wait probably just a couple more minutes and see if we can get more people before we start. Welcome, welcome everybody. Still see a couple more people coming on. And Sochi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I'm assuming that if you can hear me, everybody else can too. Okay, we'll just give it about one more minute and see if we can, if there's a couple more people, a few more people maybe still trying to get on, we'll give them just a couple more minutes or about another minute. Okay, well, I think we're going to go ahead and start. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar of diving into water education. I'm Vicki Pettick. I'm the Outreach and Conservation Associate at Desert Water Agency. And I just would like to thank all of our attendees and also our panelists that are going to be making their presentations for attending today. We just want to take care of a couple things before we get started. Just to kind of look at some of the Zoom features that are offered. Our attendees are in listen mode only. So we can't hear you, we can't see you. So really the only means of you being able to communicate with us if you should have any questions is right in the chat, which is if you look kind of down, you can just kind of scroll down over your screen and there should be some options that pop up at the bottom. You'll see a little button that says Q&A, or you'll see a button that says chat. And I think you can probably see the screen that we have up there right now showing that you request for technical support in the chat, or you can ask questions in the chat, or you can also ask questions in the Q&A. And the questions that are asked in the chat, if it's something that we can't address, if it's a little bit more detailed, we may wait until the end to address those questions. Also with the Q&A, there will be time for Q&A at the end. So if you do have any questions during or even towards the end, you can put them in the chat or in the Q&A there. So just kind of going over those features. We are also recording this, so it will be available later on for viewing. And it is also right now being live streamed on Facebook. So if for whatever reason you can't access it here, or maybe you know somebody who didn't register, maybe you can let them know that it's on Facebook as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass the baton, if you will, to Sochi Pena, and she will be introducing our panelists and moving forward with it. So thank you for attending.
Thank you, Vicki. Yeah, my name is Sochi Pena. I'm an outreach specialist at Desert Water Agency, and we are, really happy to have you on this webinar today. If you're like me, you are at home, working from home, but this is your lunch break, so you might be in your office. Today's webinar is diving into water education. Our panelists will highlight some programs that can help you better understand our community and the need for water conservation. We do live in a desert, so efficiency and sustainability. They're not just nice ideas when, California faces a drought, but, they're things that, we need so that future generations can enjoy water like we do today. So before we get started, though, with our panelists, we just wanted to do a welcome poll. I will be kicking off a poll here. I hope you guys can see it. Just a few questions to get us started. For those of you on Zoom, you guys can see it, but people watching on Facebook or rewatching on YouTube, I don't think they'll be able to see the poll. But yeah, so if you guys want to just take a couple of seconds and answer those questions, have you attended a DWA workshop in the past? Yes, in person, yes, online, yes, both. No, it's my first. Answer those. And then the second question, what best describes you? Are you a resident with your own yard? Are you an HOA resident and or board member, property manager, a landscape professional, or are you a water agency employee? Do you work at one of the local water agencies, or are you a board member? And then our third question, have you ever participated in Water Counts Academy or maybe another water education course? So just, I'll give you guys a couple more minutes, or I'm sorry, a couple more seconds to finish up those questions. Okay. And let's share the results. I hope you guys can see that. Okay. So, quite a number of you have attended previous DWA workshops. Well, that's good. No, it's your first. Well, welcome. And so what best describes you? Okay, a lot of homeowners, residents with their own yards, and HOA residents. And let's see. Okay, so have you ever participated in Water Counts Academy? Okay, so a few yes, a lot more no, but I guess maybe that's why you guys are joining us here today to learn a little bit more. So thank you for participating in our poll. We appreciate it. That just, helps us learn a little bit more about who our, who our audience is here. And, I'm guessing you guys are all here because you want to learn more about educational opportunities and programs that will help you, practice more water conservation. So we're happy about that. And so with that, I will go ahead and get started and introduce our first panelist. Joe Thrasher, I'm really happy to introduce him. He is a co-founder and president of Tinker LLC. He helps design conservation programs, and he worked with us on our program for schools in our service area. So I am real happy to introduce him. Joe, if you want to join us.
Hi there.
Hi.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and I'm excited to share what we've been working on. So, there we go. You should see my presentation. So, getting started, a little bit about the Student Water Education Program. We focus on providing education for elementary, middle, and high school students in Desert Water Service Territory. Our real focus is really teaching students about why water conservation is important, where water comes from, not just out of the faucet, and that water is there to be used, but we need to use it responsibly. So really giving students the foundation for being responsible water users once they become adults. So it's teaching, all of those types of concepts. Kind of weaved into that are the state education standards that students are already learning in the classroom. So things like the water cycle. We talk about, concepts like that in elementary school. And then in high school, We talk about things like jobs. What kinds of jobs might be available in the water industry once folks graduate from high school, or what kind of degrees might be available. So we've got a lot of different opportunities for different kids depending on their age level. So jumping into our program goals, we want to provide content that enriches what students are currently learning. And my bullet point says current classroom curriculum, but as we know, currently kids are distance learning. And so we've got to be able to provide content that meets the kids in the space in which they are learning. So we've got a whole online curriculum that supports what teachers are doing in the classroom and supports kids at home. We want to educate our youth about the importance of water in our community. So again, where does our water come from? Why is it important? What does desert water do to provide clean and reliable water for us? Really, identify that importance. It's not just something that's always there. There's a lot of time, energy, and effort that goes into it. It's important to understand. The third bullet point is we want to provide families with the opportunity to save water. So by teaching kids just the foundational aspects of conservation or even conservation and efficiency being two different kinds of things. Efficiency being that you can still get the same benefit using water. So efficiency might be taking a shorter shower. You still get clean, you just don't need to be in the shower that long. It's a good example versus conservation where you're doing some turf replacement, things like that. So and then finally, we want to help families learn how to reduce their water use and their utility bills. So this kind of goes hand in hand. You save water, your utility bill gets a little lower. So like I said, we have content for grades 4, elementary school, middle school, and high school. So we focus in grade 4, grade 6. And in high school, it really depends, grades 9 and 10, based on what the teachers are teaching and what students are in those classes. But we choose those grade levels for a couple of reasons. First reason is that the state education standards weave in water and water concepts in each one of those grade levels. And then secondarily, it's important that the content that we provide and the curriculum that we provide is appropriate for students at a specific age. So if we get younger than 3rd grade, there's some complex content and topics that we talk about, but it may not be appropriate for kids younger than grade 4. So we focus on those 3 grade levels. And I'll jump back to this slide here in a few minutes, but just quickly, you can sign up for the education here on Desert Water's website. Put a little screenshot of it on there for you. And you just pop onto the site and scroll down, and there is the form to fill out. So I'm going to show you a quick demo of some of our content. You should see our drought lesson on the screen now. It was written in conjunction with current classroom teachers. Our educator on staff is Ms. Heather Devaney, and she worked with us on putting this content together. So this would be something that teachers and students see. When we start the lesson, we're going to run through just some basic content about drought, understanding what drought is, a review of the water cycle. So we've got some pop-outs. We talk about different things going in the water cycle, and then we get into the concept of drought impacts. So which processes in drought affect the water cycle, and really starting to teach the kids the content through a matching game, so they can understand a little bit more about how drought affects the water cycle. Facts about drought: the droughts have been occurring for thousands of years, so it's something that's not uncommon, and that droughts can last months or years. They can occur at any time, and just because it rains one day doesn't mean the drought's over. So it's some important facts. And we kind of move through the lesson. We've got some sorting about what kind of impacts are from drought. So health problems for humans and animals. There could potentially be food shortages and extreme drought, etc. As we continue to move through the lesson, we've got an interactive drought map where kids can click into the map and they can look at their specific area to see how the drought is affecting them and what kind of impacts that drought has had. And then we ask some questions about that activity for the students. So they can click on the map, they can fill out the answer, submit it, and they run through a question set in that particular activity. So overall, this is a way to share great content and really teach, a specific lesson about drought in your community, how it affects you, and what it really means in the long term. And then finally, how we can, prevent bad consequences of drought. We can't prevent drought. That's not realistic, but preventing the bad consequences. So how can we be prepared enough so when drought comes, we know we're prepared. So things like starting to conserve water today, knowing full well that eventually, if we're not already in drought conditions, I think we currently are, that we're doing the things to help save water today for use for tomorrow. So again, another question set after we talk about the things to help prevent the bad consequences of drought, and then we submit the lesson. Second part of the lesson runs into an assessment question set that students have to answer correctly in order to progress into the next lesson. We have about 7 lessons we provide at the elementary school level for kids to work through. They do it in conjunction with their teachers, or they can do it on a standalone basis. At the end of the lesson, there's an overall assessment. Kids get scores, and their scores show up on a leaderboard where they can see what other kids have done. So again, just jumping back over into the website, if you have an interest in signing up or signing up your student here, you can submit right here on the DWA website. You can submit this form, and that form will come right to us. You'll get credentials to access the education within 24 hours, and that's all. Soch?
Okay, Joe. Yeah, thank you for that. We are grateful to have a program like that in our schools. With that, I will start introducing our next speaker, Anessa Ramirez. Let me get your slide up here real quick. There she is. Anessa works at College of the Desert, and she helps connect businesses with training programs that help meet their needs and the needs of the community. So take it away, Anessa.
Thank you, Sochi, and thank you for having me on this webinar. I do work at College of the Desert. I work in the PACE department, and it's partnership and community education. So what we do is we reach out to the community to see what their needs are. What I'm going to show you today is a water conservation program that we use with the Coachella Valley Water District. And what they came to us wanting us to put together a course that is going to help landscapers. Can you guys see my screen? I'm sorry. Is it on the?
Yes, I can see it. Yep.
Okay. It's going to help landscapers. This class is intended for landscapers in order to conserve water. Homeowners can take this class as well. Anyone in HOA associations can also take this class as well, but this is just going to teach you how to conserve water. So you want to go to the College of the Desert website. It's collegeofthedesert.edu. And in the search, you can type in PACE. Again, that's Partnership and Community Education. And that's going to take you directly to our website. It's going to give you a brief overview of who we are. And then you'll be able to see where this water conservation course is. I apologize for the slow internet. It doesn't happen with you guys. It only happens to us on the College of the Desert server. It's slow for us. So you'll go to PACE. It's going to be the first thing that pops up in the search results. And right here's a little bit of who we are. And on the left-hand side, you'll see what we have to offer. And this is where you're going to find the certification for the water conservation course. We do have 2 courses. I'll go over the water conservation course first with the Coachella Valley Water District, and then just briefly go over the overseeding with CVAG. So it just depends on the type of browser you were using. It's what you're going to click on to get started in the course.
Welcome to the Landscape Certification Program brought to you by the Coachella Valley Water District. Click the Start Course button in the lower left again.
So here on the menu, you'll see right now we're in the introduction. And these are the other sections, in addition to the introduction that help you with water conservation. So you're gonna, with the introduction, then there's soil, weather, plants, knowing the irrigation system that you have, matching your irrigation system to the landscaping that you have, and then finally is trim back, and trim back is actually trimming back the water time and the amount of water used for irrigating your landscape. So what we're going to do is just go over the introduction so you guys can see how the course is laid out. If you do decide to take this training, it's all free. And once you're completed with the training, you do get a certificate of completion at the end. So we'll go ahead and start the course.
Please take a moment to complete this registration form.
Now, it's very important that you do complete this registration form because a lot of times, if it just depends on the Adobe you have, that's how the certificate is generated. And some people cannot print the certificate from home because they don't have the correct Adobe installed or whatever. So you fill out this information, you can give us a call, and then we will pull it up according to all the information that you have submitted on this registration form. So do make sure that you fill it out in its entirety, because if that does happen to you after taking the course, we are going to verify all the information that you put on here.
The Coachella Valley continues to grow and place increasing demands on its water supply resources. We live in a desert that receives 0.66 inches of effective rainfall per year, but requires 72 inches per year of applied irrigation water to grow healthy, attractive turf grass. The best way to save water and reduce your water bill is to take advantage of CW's Desert Landscaping Program and convert all or part of your landscape to desert-friendly, low-water use plants. For those of you wishing to maintain turf grass within a landscape, the intent of this class is to help improve water use efficiency in irrigating turf grass in the Coachella Valley.
Okay, so that right there just told you what the purpose of this class is. It is to help improve the water use efficiency and irrigating turf grass. If you guys have turf grass at your homes, or if you're a landscaper and any of the homes that you work on have turf grass, this is going to help you improve the water efficiency.
For the purpose of this course, efficiency is defined as the percent of applied irrigation water that is beneficially used. Let's explore what's meant by beneficial use. If 100 gallons of water flows through the meter, how many of these gallons are beneficially used? The goal is 100% beneficial use of all 100 gallons. The field reality is different. Click each tab to see the field reality for each setting.
And this training is interactive. So in a lot of these slides, you're going to be able to click on different items in order to get more definition of what the content is being explained on these slides.
Beneficial use means that the applied irrigation water is used to promote immediate or future healthy plant growth in such a manner that the grass quickly and continually performs its intended function: lush foliage, dense growth, uniform color, smooth playing surface, etc. Specifically, beneficial irrigation water should be incorporated into the plant as an essential building block nutrient and become a carrier of other essential plant building block nutrients. Cool the internal plant in its immediate environment through evaporation from the soil and transpiration from the plant. Stored in the soil within the plant's accessible root zone for later beneficial use. And remove harmful salts and other soluble hazards that reduce plant quality. If irrigation water is not building the plant, cooling the plant, being stored for later use, or removing harmful salts, then some of it is being lost. How and where is this water being lost? Click the tab on the right to learn more.
So again, this is just another interactive page that's going to tell you the water losses. And there's 4 of them. And you can go through each of them and it'll tell you what each of the water losses are. And with this program, there is a quiz at the end. So you can't just skip sections. You have to let it go by itself. You can't jump ahead into another section. You have to go slide by slide.
So the big question is, how do you improve irrigation system efficiency? The answer is, it's not easy. The mixed plant ornamental landscape is the most difficult art of irrigation that is practiced.
And that's probably the most popular landscape here in the Coachella Valley.
Within a farm, you have the same crop, same water requirements, same maturity, and same spacing. You also have the same irrigation method and same application rate, and you have the same microclimate, full sun. So it's pretty easy to program that controller efficiently because each irrigation station is the same. However, within a landscape, you have different plants, different or unknown water requirements, different maturities, and different spacing with intermingled roots of different species. You also have different irrigation methods, spray heads, rotaries, bubblers, drippers, and micro sprays, putting out different amounts of water to each plant. And you have different microclimates, full sun, partial shade, and full shade. This makes it pretty difficult to program that controller efficiently because each irrigation station is different. Within the landscape, improving turf grass efficiency is the easiest way to save the most water because turf is the highest water using plant in the landscape. All of the grass has the same water requirements because they all have the same height, maturity, spacing, and root system. There are only 2 dominant irrigation methods to manage, big spray head sprinklers and rotary sprinklers that put out different but known amounts of water per unit time. There are only 2 microclimates to adjust for, full sun and partial shade. So, based on that background information, the goal of this class is to teach you to measure and improve irrigation efficiency factors, eliminate unnecessary losses, and then schedule your controller to reduce water use but maintain plant health and growth. Here's an overview of the topics we'll cover in this class. To irrigate landscapes efficiently, you need to know your soil, know your weather, know your plants, know your irrigation system, and match your irrigation system to your soil, your weather, and your plants with an irrigation schedule. Here's a glossary of important terms we'll cover in this class. Click each term to see its definition. Once you've read all the terms, click the next button.
And again, just another interactive page. It gives you the definition, and these terms you will need to know because a lot of them are at the quiz at the end of this training.
Now it's time for a quick knowledge check. Select the best answer for each of the following questions, then click the submit button.
So there's a knowledge check at the end of each section. I'll go through it and you know, if you paid attention to the introduction, you should know all the answers to it. How many inches of rainfall does the Coachella Valley receive in a year? It was 3 to 4 inches. And it'll let you know if it's correct. How many inches of water does Coachella Valley turf grass typically use in a year? I believe they said it was 72 inches. Which Coachella Valley irrigation system is least efficient? And we know landscape because it's different. Which of the following describes beneficial use of landscape irrigation water? And it was, let's see, it was all of the above for this one. Which of the 4 major landscape irrigation system losses is hardest to detect and eliminate? We didn't really go through each of these, so I'm just going to guess. And it'll tell you incorrect, but it gives you the correct answer. Which site is the hardest to irrigate efficiently? Select the most effective way of saving water in the landscape. And they said to replace turf grass using low desert water easy plants. The purpose of this training is it's going to be reduce landscape water use. And in order to be able to irrigate your landscape efficiently, you need to know something about your soil, weather, plant, sprinkler, everything that's being covered in this training.
Let's learn more about the importance of knowing your soil.
So that was the introduction. Each of the sections are the exact same. You're going to go through know your weather, know your plants, all of these. And then once you've finished, it's going to get to the quiz. And you do need a 70% to pass the quiz. This is required for landscapers in order to renew their license in each of the cities they're doing business in. So just really pay attention to the knowledge checks at the end of the section, because the quiz is 20 questions and the questions are pulled from the knowledge checks. I'm going to show you the certificate of completion that you do receive once you finish with the training. And this is generated automatically if you successfully pass the training. And again, if you don't have access to Adobe, if your computer doesn't have Adobe or something happens, but you did complete the class and you did pass it, just contact us. And like I said, we'll go over the registration information you provided and we will provide you with a copy of your certificate of completion. So that's the certificate of completion right there. And it has your name. If you're doing for a business, it'll have your business name if that's what you chose to put on it. And all in addition to the landscaping class, we have the water conservation class, we have an overseeding class. So in that class, it's on the same web page. If you remember, I was going to share the screen, but I can't get to it. I apologize for that. Oh, there it is. It's on the same web page, and this is with partnership with the Coachella Valley Association of Governments, and they, with local cities, put together a valley-wide ordinance to improve air quality in the Coachella Valley. And the primary goal of this class is to reduce the dust emissions that happen when you are landscaping, when you're overseeding. You know, every time a golf course is doing overseeding, they have signs up that say, call this number if you see dust coming from this area, you know, so that's the purpose of the overseeding class. It's pretty much laid out similarly, but you do not have a quiz at the end where you need a passing grade. But once you complete the training, you do get your certificate of completion. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Anessa. I appreciate that. I've actually taken both of those programs, and I can vouch for how educational and, I did learn a lot. So thank you for that. So now let me share my screen again. And I will be introducing the next speaker. That is me. Yeah, so I have worked at Desert Water Agency for 3 years as an outreach specialist. And before that, I was at the Desert Sun for 15 years, covering government and education. And I'll be talking to you about the upcoming CV Water Counts Academy. there you go. I'm super excited to talk to you about it because it really is a great, educational resource in our community. And, it's one that is open to anyone who has an interest in local water issues or conservation. Obviously water is very important, as you've learned today already. I mean, it's what allows our community and our economy to thrive. So that's why I'm excited to share this opportunity with you, and it's free, which is always nice. And at CV Water Counts Academy, we are celebrating our 5th year. It was launched in 2017 by Coachella Valley Water Counts, or CV Water Counts, which is a partnership of 6 local water agencies. They are all water providers, as you can see in that map there. CV Water Counts is made up of Coachella Valley Water District. In yellow, you can see they have quite a large service area. And then Desert Water Agency in orange, that's where I work. And that is primarily the Palm Springs area. India Water Authority in blue. Mission Springs Water District in Desert Hot Springs in red. Coachella Water Authority in green. And Myoma Dunes Water Company in Bermuda Dunes in hot pink. So these are the 6 water providers that make up CV Water Counts, and together, we all work on regional issues and to promote valley-wide conservation. We do live in a desert, and even though, we have this huge underground aquifer that helps supply water, we need to help conserve water for future generations, for your grandchildren, for their children. Yeah, and CV Water Counts, the team is really dedicated to promoting a water-wise lifestyle through education. And you can see in those photos, we are doing outreach at community events. We haven't been doing a lot of that lately because of the pandemic, but we still get out there and spread the word, kind of like what I'm doing today. And the good news is that since 2015, we have collectively saved 28.9 billion gallons of water. That's a lot of water. And if you can imagine, that's enough to fill up more than 89,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. And, and that is thanks to all of you who have come to, realize that water is a precious resource and that conservation is a way of life. Whether it's turning off your water while you're brushing your teeth or taking shorter showers, or installing a smart controller. Many of you have made permanent water saving changes that will benefit our valley for years to come, and we appreciate that. But there's always more that can be done. And if you haven't already checked out the CV Water Counts website, I recommend you do so. You can see the website right there, cvwatercounts.com. It is a great resource to connect you with your agency and to let you know about the tools and water saving rebates that are available to you. Now, I admit, before I started working at Desert Water Agency, I didn't know, much about water. I mean, as a reporter, I had a general knowledge of water in the desert. But as I discovered, working at Desert Water Agency, there's just so much that goes on behind the scenes. It really is quite fascinating. And so Water Counts Academy was created, to provide a little bit of a deeper dive into water issues, with people like you, and help you better understand and appreciate this complex world of water. The program won't cover, all the nitty gritty details, about like the state's water system. But, it's meant to provide a foundation to help people, just local, homeowners and people in the community better understand, water issues, and more importantly, your community. So Water Counts Academy this year is going virtual. It will be held from noon to 1:30 p.m. 5 classes once a week in February and in March. Yeah, so the classes also include experts from local water agencies and the community. So here is a little sneak peek into what you can expect for the upcoming class. There you go. February 4th is when the Academy kicks off. The first class will cover water quality and regulation. I drink tap water. I know some people don't exactly drink tap water for a variety of reasons. You know, some don't like the taste. Many others are worried that it's, you know, not safe. This first class will you know, highlight the, you know, all the testing and the regulations that water agencies must meet to ensure that the water we deliver is safe and that you do feel comfortable drinking the tap water. So on February 11th, the discussion will focus on water supply. Now here in the desert, you know, we do have this huge underground aquifer that I mentioned before to help supply water, but we also import water to the area to help replenish the aquifer. And actually about 5% of DWA's water supply comes from stream water that flows down from snowmelt off the San Jacinto Mountains. And then on February 18th, the session will focus on water efficient industries, specifically agriculture, golf, and cannabis. And, you know, obviously water is important to growing food and cannabis. And in the case of golf, you know, they do need water to help keep their fairways lush and beautiful. So experts in those fields will touch on the efficiency and discuss, you know, how they are able to balance water use and sustainability. So then on February 25th is building and development. Now, you know, a common question we get is, you know, is there enough water to sustain all this new development in the desert? You know, because when you drive around, you know, you can see, you know, new homes, hotel, master plan developments in the works. And this session will touch on that. So that should be pretty interesting. And then the Academy wraps up on March 4th with a virtual tour that will be provided by the local water agencies. Yeah, in the past, we, you know, have rented a big tour bus and taken participants out to see, you know, the various water facilities up close. But this year, we will bring you behind the scenes via a tour bus. Here are some examples of some previous tour spots. You can see some of our previous participants at the canal. You know, so this year, even though it is virtual, you will still get to see some of these places up close. It will just be from the comfort of your home or office. So participants do receive a certificate for completing the Academy, but they must attend all 5 sessions. And again, the Academy is open to anyone looking to learn more about water. You know, we've had some, you know, some really great and diverse participants in previous years. You know, people in the business community, local government, elected officials, people in the nonprofit and education sectors. You know, so we're really looking forward to this group. The deadline to register is January 31st. So, you know, you still have a couple weeks, but it is a popular program. We, you know, have always in the past had more applicants than positions available. So if you are interested, I recommend that you apply sooner rather than later. maybe as soon as this webinar is over, you can just go online and fill out the application there. You can see the website address, cvwatercounts/academy. It does require you to fill out, an application form, answer a couple of questions. It just asks, why do you want to learn more about water? What session topics particularly interest you? And it also asks, are you involved in the community, or do you hold any leadership positions? So just questions like that. Before I stop talking about the Academy, I just wanted to share a quick success story. One of DWA's newest board member, Paul Ortega, he was sworn in last month. He is a graduate of CV Water Counts Academy's first class in 2017. And, he said that he was glad to have had that opportunity. And he said that it helped him in preparing for his new role with the agency. So, I hope that many of you on the webinar today will be inspired to apply for the Academy and, to want to learn more about water. So thank you. So now I guess this is the Q&A part. So I invite the panelists to join me back on. They can turn on their video and unmute themselves. So if you have any questions, you can put them in the Q&A section. Vicki has been monitoring the questions. I hope we have some for our panelists today, Vicki.
Well, we do have one right now for actually regarding the Water Counts Academy. The question was, is the class lineup for Water Counts Academy the same every year, or is it different each year?
Okay, that is a good question. So for the most part, since we've been doing this, this is our 5th year, we tend to cover some of the same topics, but we will switch it up every now and then. I think like in years past, we've included, the economies of water rates, or sometimes we'll just have different speakers address the various topics. So, every now and then, we will have something new one year, you might not see it the next year. But for the most part, the same water topics, I'd say.
Okay. Yeah, we invite you to put any of your questions in the chat. We still have a few more minutes here, or the Q&A section, which would be located down at the bottom probably of your Zoom screen there. But a question probably we did have earlier, we did quickly answer it, but maybe Joe could talk a little bit more about the company he works with, what actually it is that you do. Somebody did ask what company you were actually with.
Sure. Our company is Tinker Programs, and what we do is we design education programs for schools across the country, and utilities sponsor those education programs by allowing us to get into their schools, talk with their school district. We customize our education based on the districts in which we're working in and the utilities in which we work with. So water in the desert is different than water in Burbank. It's different than water up in San Francisco. And I am located in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we run programs, like I said, for utilities across the country. So we've got programs in Florida and Georgia, Idaho, all kinds of places where we do stuff. So we're very into the national scene when it comes to water conservation, and then the regional scene, which areas of the country are affected by different things.
Okay, well, that's good to know. It's a great resource. I know we were very happy to be able to utilize it for our website. We did have another question for Joe. The question was, are you generally surprised by how much kids know about water or how little they know?
That's a good question. Um, Honestly, it depends on the grade level in which we're working and the school in which we're working. Sometimes kids know a lot, and in particular, when you're in middle school, they're already kind of aware of other programs and things going on around them, so they're aware of water conservation. They're aware of efficiency. They're just kind of generally aware of these kinds of things. But when you're down into the elementary school level, like a fourth grade, one of the cute answers to one of the questions is, where does your water come from? And oftentimes we hear out of the faucet. So, you teach kids, what's really going on with water and what kind of time, energy, and effort goes into providing, and this is really important, providing reliable, clean water. There's just so many places in the world that don't have that opportunity to have reliable, clean, and safe water. And here in the United States, particularly in California, there's a lot of good people working on things that provide that in a reliable way. So when you do turn that faucet on, it is safe and clean water.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great answer to a really good question. I did actually have a question for Anessa, as we may have some water agency employees that might be watching this, participating, attending this. You mentioned that the course is, you can get a certificate from the course if you need to renew a license. What about when it comes to different water certifications? Is that something that would apply to this course as well?
I guess it just depends on the agency that the person is working for and what kind of classes they can take. If like a DWA sees this as, some kind of continuing education for their employees to take, if they would allow this, if it's something that they feel that they need, as part of conserving water, if you guys, have that, or, I guess it can definitely be used. They can take the course at any time, of course. It's there for anyone to take, not just landscapers. But that all just depends on whether the agency would accept this as some kind of education for their employees.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. So I hope anybody that might be online and listening, maybe check with the agency that you are employed by as to what this might pertain to. We did have another question just pop up about the academy. Does the academy provide continued education credits for certified operators? And if so, how many hours?
No, I don't believe so. This is, I guess more of just a general water education course. So I don't believe that it does work in that manner. But I can get more information and find out and get back with that person. So.
Okay. Yeah. So if you do have a question that you possibly didn't think of while you're on Zoom right now, or if you may think of later, Sochi just put up her contact information there. You can reach her by phone there, and also too through our website, you can reach her, or myself as well. I am also able to be contacted through the website and by contacting the office. So we can get any questions that you may have that you didn't get in today. We can get that to either Joe or Anessa, or if you have one directly for Sochi, you can contact her. But we appreciate Joe and Anessa and Sochi for presenting today on a really, really important topic, especially now since we are kind of all distance learning. This is something that we can all take part in one way or another. So we thank you for attending.
Yeah, and so before we let you go, though, we have a real quick wrap-up poll. So just one more poll, if you guys don't mind. Here we go. I will launch that right now. I think you guys can see it. Yeah, so after after taking part in this webinar, do you plan to participate in one of these programs? Yes, sign me up right away. No, not interested or not right now, but maybe later. And then 2, how did you hear about this webinar? DWA email, social media, our website, a friend or colleague. We're just always interested in finding out how people heard about our webinar. So just a couple of seconds to answer those questions. Okay, I will share the results. Okay, well, that's good news. Yeah, quite a few want to sign up, or maybe in the future. That's always great. We like to hear that. So yeah, thanks again for taking part in this webinar. We really appreciate it. And our contact information is there. If you have any questions, give us a call, shoot us an email. And also, just as a heads up, before I let you go, I popped this up briefly before. Our next webinar is on Thursday, February 18th at 2 p.m. Waterworks. We hope that you will join us then if you want to learn a little bit about a career in water, specifically at Desert Water Agency. We look forward to seeing you then. And thanks again. Thanks, Anessa and Joe. And thanks everyone else who joined us. And hopefully we will catch you again on our next webinar. Okay. Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.